At the beginning of the film, a group of robbers is shown attempting to rob a bank. There are 4 of them. 3 will go inside, while the 4th will wait in the car as the driver. We are told that the driver's name is Baby. Despite his young age, Baby is a very skilled driver. Shortly after the 3 of them left, Baby successfully drove them away. However, at the same time, several police cars arrived, leading to a chase. Then Baby noticed 2 red cars identical to his own. As a result, Baby managed to deceive the police by using the 2 red cars. Next, Baby went to a basement and switched cars to return to the hideout. Upon arriving at the base, Baby went to his regular cafe to buy coffee. He then wrapped the coffee and served it to his fellow robbers.
Upwards of 200,000.
One of the robbers felt uneasy seeing Baby, who never took off his headphones and was always listening to music. However, even though his ears were filled with music, Baby could still focus on listening and processing everything his colleagues said. Soon, a man who was their boss arrived. His name was Document. Doc was the mastermind behind the robbery, and he immediately divided the money from the recent robbery equally among everyone. When everyone received their share, Doc immediately deducted Baby's portion. As it turned out, Baby owed him money.
Baby, full cut, same as everyone.
No pleasure in taking candy from Baby.
Before leaving, Doc said that Baby still had to be the driver for one more robbery. After that, his death would be considered paid off.
You call him there?
In the afternoon, Baby was seen at home. It turned out that Baby had been living alone with his foster father, as both of Baby's biological parents had died in an accident long ago. Apparently, the foster father couldn't speak, so they always communicated using sign language. However, despite that, Baby loved his foster father deeply because he had raised Baby all this time. Besides being a skilled driver, Baby also had a hobby of making music. Currently, Baby has recorded all his conversations with Doc and plans to turn those conversations into a song.
Was he slow?
The next day, Baby went to a restaurant for breakfast. However, by chance, he met a beautiful waitress named Deborah, who instantly made Baby fall in love at first sight. Baby mustered the courage to introduce himself to Deborah, and from there, they began to get to know each other.
My music and the road.
I'd like that too.
Upon returning from the restaurant, Baby was seen smiling to himself, even dancing uncontrollably. So happy was he to have met Deborah. However, amidst his joy, Baby receives a call from Doc, who asks him to come to the headquarters immediately to discuss the next robbery.
You're in.
I'll be there.
Upon arriving at headquarters, Doc introduced 2 new robbers because Doc always changed members to confuse the police. Baby was the only person Doc couldn't replace because no one could match his driving skills. Here are Doc's 2 new members, one from Asia and the other a man named Michael, the leader of a gang. Here, Michael initially doubted Baby due to his young age. He asked Doc why he chose Baby. Doc explained that a year ago, Baby had stolen his car for a race, causing it to plunge into a ravine. Inside the car was 1 kilogram of contraband. Since then, Doc had been furious and had even wanted to kill Baby. However, when he saw how skilled Baby was at driving, Doc decided to hire him for free as compensation for the loss of the 1 kilogram of contraband that had also plunged into the ravine with the car. Over the past year, Baby had always successfully completed Doc's missions. Thus, his abilities were no longer in doubt. After explaining this to Michael, Doc immediately held a meeting to plan the next robbery. During the meeting, Michael was very annoyed with Baby because while Doc was explaining the plan, Baby seemed not to be listening and was instead engrossed in listening to music with his headphones. Then, Michael asked Baby to explain again all the plans that Doc had just discussed. Despite having his ears occupied with music, Baby could explain all of Doc's plans and even offer a few additional suggestions.
We also have a diversion crew. They're gonna blow up a bread truck a ways away, keep the fuzz busy. Yukon, Avalanche, whatever. He needs to be ready for an 8:30 start.
Seeing this, Michael finally believed that Baby was no ordinary person.
That's my baby.
The next day, the robbery began. This time, they were going to rob a money delivery vehicle.
It belongs to us. Let's go get it back. What's rightfully ours?
As usual, Michael and the others went out to carry out the operation while Baby stayed inside the car. Soon after, Michael and his friends successfully robbed the money delivery vehicle. However, as they were getting into the car to flee, Baby's car was suddenly hit by someone. Luckily, Baby's car was still functional, and a chase ensued. After a long chase, Baby managed to shake off the car and escape. In short, Baby and the others had arrived at the base. As usual, Baby bought coffee at his regular cafe and shared it with Michael and the others. Then Doc arrived and immediately divided the stolen money equally among everyone, except for Baby's share. Before leaving, Baby bid farewell to Doc, as that was his last job. Now all of Baby's debts were settled. Doc thanked him, as he greatly admired Baby's skill. Doc also gave Baby some money as a token of his gratitude. Then Baby left, and from now on, he would no longer be the driver for the robbers. That afternoon, Baby went to the restaurant where Deborah worked. Baby chose to spend time there so he could always be close to Deborah.
Oh, Deborah, always look like a zebra.
What is your name?
Baby.
Wait, what? Your name's Baby.
Every day after that, Baby would come to the restaurant to see Deborah. Even before the restaurant opened, Baby was already there, which brought him even closer to Deborah. One day, Baby mustered the courage to invite Deborah to dinner at the most luxurious restaurant in the city. Deborah, who was also interested in Baby, naturally accepted the invitation.
Bacchanalia.
I've never been. I hear it's not.
After leaving the restaurant, Baby was visibly overjoyed that Deborah had agreed to go out to dinner with him. To express his happiness, as usual, Baby danced around wildly, much to the surprise of his adopted father. That evening, Baby and Deborah met at a luxurious restaurant as planned. Here, Baby mustered the courage to confess his feelings to Deborah. From that point on, the two officially began dating. During their dinner, Baby was suddenly approached by a waiter, who informed him that someone else had paid for all his orders. It turned out that the person was Doc, the leader of the robbers and Baby's former boss. Quickly, Baby asked Deborah's permission to approach Doc. Upon meeting, Baby immediately thanked Doc for paying for his meal. Doc then mentioned that he intended to offer Baby another job. At first, Baby refused, as he no longer wanted to work as a robber's driver. However, Doc explained that Baby would receive a very large share at this time. With that money, Baby could marry Deborah and take her to this luxurious restaurant every day. Moreover, Baby could also take Deborah on a holiday anywhere after the job was successfully completed. As a result, Baby was tempted and agreed to take the job from Document.
Your gal here for fucking dinner every night of the week. So what do you say? You in?
Yeah.
Before leaving, Doc said he would pick Baby up tomorrow morning to discuss the strategy for his new job.
I'll pick you up in the morning. Don't stay out too late now.
The next day, Baby was picked up by Doc at his house. Then Doc took Baby to one of the post offices, as that post office would be their robbery target. Doc asked Baby to go inside and count all the CCTV cameras and guards there.
Take your buds out, pull your shades off.
Quickly, Baby went inside and counted the number of CCTV cameras and guards. Here, Baby met a very friendly staff member, who made Baby reluctant to rob the post office. However, no matter what happened, Baby had to carry out the robbery because she had made a new agreement with Doc. After that, Baby returned to the car and informed Doc that there were 10 CCTV cameras and 6 guards. Upon hearing this, Doc immediately took Baby to his base. Upon arriving at headquarters, Doc recruited Michael again as a member of his gang. This time, however, Michael would be teamed up with a couple named Anthony and Susan, who had committed a robbery earlier in the film. Soon after, Doc asked his team to gather as he was about to discuss the robbery plan. Doc explained that tomorrow, they would rob the post office of its money orders. Later, Doc would sell all the money orders to a dealer who was ready to buy them at a fantastic price. However, before that, Doc ordered his team to meet with his acquaintance that night to buy weapons. This was because tomorrow's robbery would definitely require more weapons.
Gun to her head, that gets you guys in the back off. Did you get all that, baby?
Yeah.
2 hours later, Michael and the others arrived at a place to meet with Doc's acquaintance.
Voila! Welcome to La Chasse.
As they were about to transact the weapons, Michael suddenly recognized one of Doc's acquaintance's bodyguards. Additionally, Michael noticed a police logo on the weapon box. Instantly, Michael remembered that one of Doc's acquaintance's bodyguards was a police officer who had arrested him in the past. Fearing a trap, Michael immediately killed them all without hesitation.
Testing.
After Doc's acquaintance and his bodyguards were killed, Anthony and Susan were angry that Michael had killed them. Michael explained that the bodyguards were police officers, and he was afraid they were just trying to trap him. As a result, Anthony and Susan understood, so they decided to return to the base.
When you folks name your bets, you're gonna end up crazy.
On the way, Michael saw a restaurant. He then asked Baby to park at the restaurant because he was very hungry. Baby, who realized that the restaurant was where Deborah, his girlfriend, worked, initially refused. However, Michael immediately pointed a gun at Baby and said, "Never disobey my orders." As a result, Baby could only obey everything Michael commanded. Inside the restaurant, Baby pretended not to recognize Deborah, which confused Deborah. Baby did this because he didn't want Michael to find out about their relationship.
You hear that, Steve? That's some Oscar shit, right? Baby, you know that bitch?
No.
After finishing their meal, Michael seemed ready to pull out a weapon because he didn't want to pay the bill. However, Baby stopped him, saying that he would pay the bill.
Make sure you tip the nice lady.
While paying at the cashier, Baby slipped a tissue to Deborah with a note saying that he would meet her the next night. In short, Michael and his friends had arrived at the base. However, unexpectedly, Doc became angry because Michael had killed the weapon seller, who was his acquaintance. Michael explained that the man's bodyguard was a police officer, and he was sure they were setting a trap. Doc replied, "Those police have always been corrupt. So Michael, don't act like you know everything." Finally, Michael apologized because he truly didn't know that the police were Doc's friends. Actually, Doc wanted to cancel the robbery plan for tomorrow because he was sure the other police had already suspected and were targeting them. However, Michael and Anthony begged Doc not to cancel the robbery because they desperately needed the money. As a result, Doc took pity on them. He then asked them all to rest so that tomorrow's mission would go smoothly. An hour later, Baby was seen heading to the car because he intended to rest at home. However, as soon as he entered the car, Anthony and Michael approached him. It turned out that Michael had found Baby's recording device, which contained all of Baby's conversations with Document. Michael suspected that Baby was a police informant sent to track them. Baby explained that all the conversations were just his personal collection, which he later turned into songs. However, Michael doesn't believe him and immediately attacks Baby.
No.
When Baby came to, all his tapes, which Michael had taken from the house, were already in front of him. Doc then asked Baby to explain the meaning of all this. Baby said that he always recorded all his conversations with anyone, including Document. Then, all those conversations were turned into a song that had been arranged in such a way. To prove it, Baby played one of the tapes.
No, good shit. Devil behind the wheel. Was he slow?
This shit is bananas, dog.
After listening to the song, Doc and the others finally believed him. However, Doc still kept all the tapes and planned to return them later after their robbery was successful. In short, the next day the robbery began.
They got our money. They got our mama's jewels. Remember what's in there is ours.
Anthony and Susan, his girlfriend, entered through the front door, while Michael entered through the back door. Shortly after, Baby encountered the friendly clerk who was about to enter the post office. Baby tried to signal the clerk not to enter, but the clerk instead called the police, who were parked there. At the same time, Michael and his friends exited the post office with their loot. However, they were spotted by the police and the friendly clerk, prompting Michael to kill them immediately.
Let's go! Come on, baby, we gotta go.
Seeing Michael's actions, Baby was furious because he always killed innocent people. Finally, Baby decided to kill Michael. After Michael died, Anthony and Susan scolded Baby for his actions. However, in the middle of the argument, the police arrived, leading to a shootout. Here, Baby tried to escape by running, but the police continued to chase him. During the chase, Baby managed to steal a car and intended to leave. However, for some reason, Baby ended up crashing into the car in front of him. Turned out that Anthony and Susan had driven the car. As a result of the collision, both Anthony's and Baby's cars were damaged. Reluctantly, Anthony had to fight off the police, who were chasing him again. After Susan's death, Anthony believed that Baby was responsible for her death, so he flew into a rage and shot at the police, including Baby. Luckily, Baby managed to escape while carrying his loot, then stole an elderly woman's car. In a hurry, Baby returned home and took his adoptive father to a nursing home.
Large are considered extremely dangerous. I like TV.
Then, Baby picked up Deborah at the restaurant because he now intended to take her out of town. However, unexpectedly, Anthony was already inside the restaurant because he had guessed from the start that Deborah was Baby's girlfriend and the cause of Susan's death.
But Deborah, baby, is she?
Fortunately, his actions were delayed because a police officer suddenly entered the restaurant restroom. Baby didn't waste the opportunity and immediately shot Anthony, then left the place with Deborah. Unfortunately, Anthony managed to survive because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Next, Baby visited Doc at the headquarters and handed over a bag containing the loot. Baby pleaded with Doc to give him his share and the tapes that had been withheld. Baby explained that one of the tapes contained a recording of his late mother's voice, making it very important to him. Doc, who never broke his word, returned all the tapes along with a bag of money as Baby's payment. Doc didn't care if Michael and the others were dead, as what mattered most to him was the loot. Then, Doc took Baby out to leave the area. However, in the parking lot, they were surrounded by 3 police officers.
Run.
After dispatching the 3 officers, he asked Baby to take Deborah and leave. But at the same time, a police car arrived and immediately crashed into Doc, killing him. It turned out to be Anthony, who still held a grudge against Baby over Susan's death. Baby tried to fight Anthony. Unfortunately, even though Anthony's car was knocked down to the lower floor, he survived and immediately pointed a gun at Baby. Luckily, Deborah managed to distract Anthony, and this is what happened. The next day, Baby and Deborah were seen fleeing to the neighboring city to start a new life. However, midway through the journey, Baby was blocked by dozens of FBI cars because, after all, he was still a fugitive. Deborah told Baby to turn the car around and flee from there. However, Baby refused because, no matter how long it took, his life would never be peaceful as long as he remained a fugitive. Baby decided to take responsibility for all his actions. He also tells Deborah to always remain loyal to him. In the end, Baby is arrested without resistance. A few weeks later, Baby is seen undergoing a trial. Here, Baby is sentenced to 25 years in prison. However, if he behaves well, he can be released in 5 years. Baby could only accept his fate and promise to behave well so he could be released from prison sooner.
You got a letter, kid.
I can't wait until the day when it's just us, music, and the road.
In short, Baby is now free from prison due to his excellent behavior. He was immediately greeted by Deborah, who had remained loyal and waited for him all along. Baby promised to marry Deborah soon and start everything anew without getting involved in the criminal world again. Then the film ends.